Oh, fuck.
Got it. All right, let me get on the YouTube app. Let me see here. The YouTube.
Oh, fuck. There it is. We must be live. Cool.
Are we live?
Cool. Yeah, I guess so. So maybe I can go ahead and say it. What's up, dark judges, desperados, and dudes in dick-shaped helmets? You're listening to Cursed Earth Radio, the one and only podcast bringing dread to the dreadless.
Oh, God, I got to turn it down. It's too loud. Broadcasting outside the walls of Mega City 1 across the Black Atlantic in North America. I'm Cool Johnny Cool.
Hey, this is Heavy Metal Kid, and we're back at a much more reasonable time for our listeners in the UK. We'll see if anybody even logs in. We're back to discuss this week's exciting Prog, and people are already pouring into the chat. Johnny, what are we talking about today?
We are doing the third chapter in the Citadel, where Judge Dredd is still a dick. Proteus Vex, we're nearing the end of Desire Paths, and Proteus has a ship full of people that don't trust him, and I am terrified. The Order, that's there. We're going to talk about ball cuts and mullets and Kingmaker, the Falls the Shadow, and Brink does more world building.
Yo, and of course, you couldn't be here without your two best friends in the whole wide world, Heavy Metal Kid.
Cool Johnny Cool, and you're listening to Cursed Earth Radio.
Hey, listen, Johnny. We always say that 2000 AD is an oracle. 2000 AD is a thing that predicts the future, is a thing that gives us a look ahead into what our world will become. But I'm going to say this week, Johnny, that Cursed Earth Radio predicts the future. Cursed Earth Radio does these things. And here's my proof right here. We don't need Dredd. We don't need no Dredd. We got enough Dredd. What we don't have is Judge Fire. Hiya, toys. If you don't give us Judge Fire, fuck you. How about that?
Man, it's going to be a spicy, salty podcast tonight.
Man, I feel victimized by the lack of Judge Fire in my life.
Yeah, I don't have a Judge Giant figure.
Boom! There it is, Johnny.
You are welcome, consuming public. We have the gift. We can will action figures into existence. I know that because all the listeners and all our friends bombarded both of us and CER with the evidence that we are gifted in this act of bringing things from nothing into something, and we have willed Hiya Toys into releasing Judge Fire and Judge Giant. Thank you.
Oh.
You're welcome.
I would have, it was almost like, okay, yeah, maybe Fire's coming. They're not going to make the same mistakes that A3 or 3A or whatever the fuck they were called. It's sitting right in front of me. 3A made by not making a Judge Fire and making all of us have fucking full collection blue balls forever. Maybe they're going to rectify that. But the fact that Fire and Giant dropped at the same time, there's only one option, man.
Us.
They listened to Cursed Earth Radio, and they heard that last week and went ahead and rushed production and got us some prototypes out. 3A Toys did great figures. Their stuff's amazing. I kind of wish they would have kept the license forever because their stuff was so high quality. But guess what? They didn't have any love for Fire. Hiya Toys, they're doing it right. They're making them smaller. They're more affordable. They're hopefully going to be a little bit easier to get a hold of. We can get our Fire fix, our Giant fix. This is a big deal, man. The Judge Giant figures are a real fucking big deal.
Dude, if it had just been Fire, I would have been like, oh, that's a coincidence. But fucking Giant as well? Are you shitting me? We're amazing.
Hey, that Fire looks awesome too. That they did the right sort of like the clearish, transparent Fire. It looks so good. I'm so excited that we're finally going to get something that we've been clamoring for. So I'm here to throw my support in all the way. I'm going to buy one of everything that they make, even though, as I've said from the beginning, I feel like that Dredd looks just like all the other Dredds that I've got, but I don't give a shit because
we're getting a giant. We're getting a giant.
Yeah.
I checked the CER Instagram and it had a message. I was like, who's messaging us here? It was Jake. And
Yeah.
he said, they're happy. And I looked at the message and I said, yes, very much so.
Paul's asking in the chat, Judge Giant is the Haya Toys is making a Judge Giant action figure. Paul, can't fucking believe it. And we're taking credit for it, by the way.
We willed it into existence. I have the 3 that have already been up: Judge Dredd, Judge Death, Fear, and Mortis on pre-order. I guess that's 4. I failed math, but I will also pre-order Giant and Fire. Now let's get crazy. Where's the Judge Priest? Where's Heston? Let's get nuts.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? We are definitely, I would say, likely going to see an Anderson, which is interesting because normally
you're going to see an Anderson and a Hershey. You're going to be so confused.
Well, Anderson's like almost like we need an extra one. Let's do Anderson. So this kind of shows to me a little bit of like, I don't know, man, like Haya Toys is not going always the easy route. And let's face it, Anderson hasn't really been doing a whole lot in the story in the progs lately. So it's kind of like I don't know. It was time for Giant. We need a Giant, man. I'd like to see a Judge Logan, chubby version, of course. Who knows? But we support. If there's one thing that we do when it comes to Judge Dredd fandom, we try to support with our wallets when something cool like this happens. So
yes, we're going to support. Give me a Dirty Frank now. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do Gerhardt. Let's get Gerhardt.
Oh man. Yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see more stuff that's not, I mean, I'm really excited about Fire, of course. He's been we've been championing Fire forever here on this podcast, but I would love to see more stuff coming from like the new sort of modern Dredd, because modern Dredd is some of the best Dredd there is, man.
Yeah, we can get Maitland in there.
Yeah.
A Judge Penn.
Yeah. There's
Judge
so
Smiley.
Hopefully we just keep getting more. So it's a pretty exciting week. That's all I've got for news. I don't know if you have anything else that's popped up this week, but it's all been all about Fire and Giant here.
Oh yeah, that hit, and I was dying to shout about how we willed that into existence on the podcast. We're amazing. Yeah. We've hit the apex. You name me another podcast that's been able to will figures into existence.
So I should also say, I'm pretty sure that at the end of this podcast, to spare everybody the having to fast forward, we're most definitely going to talk about the new Batman movie for a few minutes. So if you're interested in that, you can stick around after the wiener to hear about that.
Seldom are the ones that stick around after the wienering.
True. Yeah. So what'd you think about this week's cover art?
Well, we got Inge back pushing the pencils. I liked it because it's been a while since we've seen anything Brink related on the cover. I mean, it's been 2 years since we actually had Brink in the Prog.
Yeah, Brink definitely deserves some cover action. I feel like it's for me one of my favorite things in the Prog that is like less celebrated. You know what I mean? It's Brink is a hard one because it's not always necessarily action packed. It's got a lot more slow burn intrigue, but Brink's one of the top tier stories in the Prog for me.
It's another one of those that you would not expect us to be into, like the Out, but here we are backing Brink.
Yeah, for sure, man. Pretty cool cover. And I actually, by the way, I read Droid Life this week.
I was just going to ask you. I did, but I forget what it's about. Something about one of the robots drives a truck into a Prog.
Yeah, I drove the truck into a Prog to test and see if it was safe. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I read it this week, and that's all I got.
Well, the only reason I read it is because I'm afraid you'll read it and bring it up, and I won't have anything to say about it.
It's FOMO. It's fear of missing out.
Very much so. Is there fear of Dredd being a dick? Because that's what's going on in the Citadel Part 3.
Man, this opening page, the Sov judges roasting smoke. I love this. I love what is happening right now because I just feel like we didn't even get enough of this in in fucking Red Dawn, in fucking Apocalypse War. We didn't get enough of this in the Apocalypse War. Just people killing Sovs. I need more of that. And this fucking Blue, man, she's hobbling along on one leg, holding them off.
Definitely going out on her shield. And Joe's okay with it. Like, Joe's not going to help. As you remember the last chapter, his bedside manner, very questionable. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're dying. I can smell it. No, thanks, Joe. Thanks so much. You want to hold these guys off while you're dying? Yeah, that'd be great. Let's fucking do that.
Blue is a cog in the machine, man. And, it would be easy. I mean, it's very easy to say that Dredd is a dick, and he certainly is. And he's heartless and cold and all that stuff. But you know what? I'm pretty sure if Dredd were in the exact same spot, he would do the same thing and see himself as nothing more than a cog in the machine as well.
Oh, without a doubt, he is programmed.
Yeah. So it's he never does anything. Well, there are a few historical incidents where makes you wonder, but for the most part, I think when Joe wouldn't mind going out holding off some Sovs, but he realizes he's a more important cog in the wheel than is old Blue here. So she has to go. I still don't know. We're still taking the really slow burn path to what is the Citadel, what happened. I kind of love this scene here where they're holed up, they're getting some food in them, getting ready to go back out. And Dredd tells all the rookies to spray paint their helmets black because you guys are 100% targets out here with those white helmets.
I like that too. I guess Joe will issue the regulations of the Justice Department in wartime because usually he would cling to that and yell at you for having dirt on your uniform or this, that, and the other. But it's the Sovs are here.
Or get you killed for having a mustache that he doesn't like.
Oh, the Judge Child. Subtitle, that guy's got a mustache. No, you got the mustache. You take the hit. I'm sorry. That's just it's Justice Department regulations. I don't know what to tell you. But I liked it. It was very tactical because I was thinking that the whole time. If these cadets are 1 year to go in the academy, they've still got white helmets, which means they are just sticking out like sore thumbs.
Yeah, it looks cool too, man. I like that little addition. I can't imagine that's going to go anywhere as far as like adding up to anything, but it is pretty cool once they have their helmets all like sloppily spray painted. It's just like a cool image. I kind of like that little scene, and maybe one of my favorite parts of this one.
It's like corpse paint on the helmet.
Yeah, right. And we still don't know. And you said it one time and it stuck with me ever since. So I've just been keeping it in the back of my mind, which is as much as I'm, reading this and this is what happened. This is from the account of this guy who is maybe framing his own narrative. So we may see some shocking things in this, but does that mean that that's actually what happened?
Yeah. It's what's his name? Winterton. There we go. This is all his account, and he's been locked away for 30 years because of this.
Yeah.
It's selective memory. Is he remembering it this way to frame Joe as the villain? It doesn't take much to frame Joe as the villain because Joe is a big bag of dicks. But yeah, that's, I think since the first chapter, that's kind of been coloring my read is, these aren't actual events. These are Witterton's remembering of events. So how true are they? Yeah.
These Sov spider bot things are awesome, by the way.
I figured you'd like them because I saw tentacles.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is one time in this Prog that I'm excited about the tentacle action. We'll get to the other time. Hey, and of course, as I'm flipping through, as we do when we cover this, don't forget, we got a big fucking online convention coming up. I'm pretty excited. I don't know how it's going to be. I know there's going to be hopefully a virtual merch table because it does say merch. So
did you can't use a coupon on, so fuck you. We should probably get together and do something for this.
Oh, I feel like we should definitely do some sort of live broadcast at the convention, which is virtual. So wherever we're at, that just counts.
That works for me, brother.
Yeah. So I definitely want to attend. I'm really, really kind of excited about it. And I don't know, man. I when pandemic started, I was on my way to the UK to go to Lawless, and it happened in the middle of the point in the pandemic where I was just kind of in super high acceptance mode, didn't even bother me. But here I see this digital convention. I'm way more excited than I thought I would ever be for something digital. But I'm like, oh man, I'm like really, really clamoring for this thing. So I think it's a great move on 2000 AD's part. Like, I'm super excited about it.
Yes, so stop by the Curse Earth Radio virtual booth. We are listed under many, many more guests to be announced. Yeah. I'm announcing us. We're going to do something during this, so we'll let you know.
Yeah, and we'll be repping our love as always for Proteus Vex. And speaking of Proteus Vex, here we are, man. If anybody's not keeping an eye on both Jake Lynch and Jim Boswell's Instagram and social medias, they're posting a lot more on social media. I've been seeing a lot of work in progress stuff from Jake on there. So if you're like us and you like to keep track of your favorite creators, I love that sort of work in progress behind the scenes stuff. So there's another opportunity up on social media right now.
I love seeing process and progress because it's so many people don't post that. They just post the final, and they don't let you see behind the curtain. But Jake is taking like what he's posting. You're getting to see it from ground zero up through finished pencils or inks before he sends them over to Jim. So that's really cool to see that chunk of the process.
Yeah. And the, one of the ones that I was sort of really shocked by was the Nick Percival work in progress stuff that I've seen, because, generally his stuff is so very digital and very computer graphic sort of looking in terms of how the final product, but he does, pencils and inks before he even gets to that process. So I think a lot of us, non-artists like myself out here don't realize how much work goes into something like that. It's not just you get on there and you make a piece of digital art. There's a lot of stuff that goes on beforehand. So that's why I really, really loved the 2080 script book. It was really cool to see the progress or the process from that angle too, which is like totally different. One of my biggest regrets is not purchasing the Judge Mortis Dead World story in full. I had the opportunity to get those pages, and I didn't. Man. And then they ended up in the script book, which to me made it even cooler because it was like, now it's like a double piece of 2000 AD history. But
wait, so that standalone Mortis story where the aliens drop down in his garden and he ends up killing them all?
Yeah.
You could have owned that whole thing?
Could have owned the whole thing.
Oh, man.
It was incredibly reasonable because it's like Dave Kendall art. And so you're just getting like, the blue pencil followed by it's like, I think the reason they were so cheap is because it's not like a true, I don't know any other way to put it. It's not like pen to paper sort of thing, but it was like his originals. And, he does a lot of it and then adds little things here and there. But yeah, man, we're talking like $80 to $100 per page.
Oh, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah. And, I could have had the whole 5-6 pages. I didn't, and I really regret it. So,
and that stuff's what I find the most interesting because it's the bones.
Yeah.
Like that's where everything starts and everything's built on that stuff. Man, that would have been great. Yeah.
And I think that's, and I've said their name here before, Berserker Art. Berserker is like just, if you live in the US and you want to own some 2000 AD stuff, that's the place to go, because Otherwise, it's kind of hard to get stuff over here. But they have lots of Dredd. I mean, even at this, I think if you went on there today, I think they still have Carlos stuff. They were getting a lot of Boo Cook stuff, a lot of 2000 AD stuff, and it's really cool because their prices are super reasonable. I mean, they've got some real, I still don't even consider it a high price, but they've got like that Dave Kendall flesh piece, which is incredible. All kinds of cool stuff over there at Berserker. And if you live in the US, it's like your opportunity to get something and not have to import it, which that's its own struggle, man. Cause I was trying to get something from an artist over there a while back, and it was just like, no, there's no deal. Won't send it no matter what. Pay double. Nope. Won't send it. It was like, I'll sign something that says if it gets destroyed in transit, like, no, somebody in the US must something with regards to that process must have really rubbed somebody the wrong way. Cause I was trying my best, but could not even. It's just like so many 2080 things. Yep, not available to you, sir.
The continued struggles of the United States-based 2080 fan.
Yes. So let's talk about the continued struggles of Proteus Vex.
I like this because I like the layout of what a desire path is and how the Imperium Ascendant didn't really do that. They just went with might is right when they were building the Imperium, and now it's kind of coming back to biting them in the ass.
Yeah.
And is Vex, he's like lawful good, I think, in this, because he saves an entire ship of agents of the Imperium Ascendant. Even though they probably want to kill him, he flies up in Farrago and saves them all as their ship is disintegrating.
Yeah. Vex really, man, he does whatever the fuck he wants to do. He's got his own code here. Man, these uniforms, these purple, gold, and white guys with the triangle faces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of this design, man. I really like these uniforms. I like as we get to know sort of the ranks and the different sort of classifications. We get to see the different uniforms, and none of them make any sense, but they're all cool.
I have so many questions I want to ask Michael about them, so I'm looking forward to the next Vex chat.
Yeah. And I wonder, makes me wonder though, how much of that is in the script and how much of that is just Jake doing what Jake does, like, kind of getting to make his own choice. Because I get the vibe when we talked to Michael that it was like, when he was talking about the first chapter of Vex, how it was like, oh yeah, man, it was kind of just a pretty straightforward story. And then Henry Flint came in and just did some weird Henry Flint shit, and then it took shape, which was really cool. This idea that if you're the writer, you write this character and you may have something in your head, and then you get the artwork back and he looks like Proteus Vex looks, which is like a totally different thing. So you could really, if you could take this story and replace it with like art that looks like Skip Tracer stuff, and the story would still work, but I can't imagine that I would ever love it as much that I do as I do if it were just some normal looking guys or some alien, like Star Trek aliens, where like, hey, I'm an alien but my ears just look different, or I'm an alien but I have some dots in my on my forehead or whatever. It's just a whole different thing, man. The weirdness of Proteus Vex is what makes it cool.
Oh, it fits like a glove. The art always has fit it like a glove, from Henry's run on Another Dawn to Jake's tenure now. So we got Henry would be the Paul Diano and Jake would be Bruce Dickinson in this analogy. So
you're saying there's no Blaze Bailey in this equation?
Not yet, and I hope never. I hope.
Oh, I love Blaze Bailey, sir.
I gambler, I save you. He says that like 1,100 times in that song.
Look, man, Blaze Bailey, after Iron Maiden, went on to make some great power metal records. And
I agree. Virtual 11 is completely indefensible.
You're right. No, you're not wrong. You're correct. And there's one good song on that, one or two good songs on that record.
Angel the Gambler is a great tune. If you
no,
like
it's
hearing the
not.
same word.
No, it's not. No, it's terrible. Yeah, so it's like you're right. I think it's been cool throughout, and we'll see where it goes. Still, man, it's like the fucking clock's ticking, and we're not getting any midnight.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to bring up at the Vex crew interview. Like, I'm going to be real sad and just tell me she's okay. Yeah. Just tell me she's okay. Lie to me.
So Vex was still great, still intriguing. It took all this time for us to, I'm sure we could have done a nice internet search and found out, but the explanation, the parallel between Desire Path and what's going on right now is very interesting. Meanwhile, in the Order, George Washington is barfing up his shadow, which is grabbing a ghost version of Benjamin Franklin while the Children of the Corn wait outside. Then they do some sort of dental surgery on Benjamin Franklin, and a man made entirely of shredded wheat goes deeper into his stomach to fight a giant octopus, and that somehow floods the entire Earth and results in Rosie O'Donnell fighting some black tentacles. That's what I got. What'd you get?
I got nothing for that. It's the end of this run of the Order, so we've got that.
Oh, that was the end.
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
I like how you're surprised.
I didn't read it. I just looked at the pictures like I used to do all the way through high school.
I love it. Anytime the Order pops up, that's how we're reviewing it. HMK does his best interpretation solely based on the visuals.
Right. Sorry. So yeah, man. I guess the Order's over. And
for
at the end of the day, yeah, we just don't have any love for the Order over here. We don't have hate for the Order. We just don't have any love for it.
I truly enjoy the art. I am just so unattached to anything else that's going on. And I do love your non-reading interpretation of the Order. So yes, we will be doing that from now on.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Meanwhile, Kingmaker, I did actually read. And have been reading since the beginning. How are you feeling about this one?
This one kind of felt like Brink. It was super dry and procedural, this chapter about, this is your world now. You inherited it. You got to sign this contract. Oh, but you got to keep making the stuff they were making. And now you're the bad guys. Okay, bye. Also, Yolandi Visser is plummeting to the planet's surface from space now.
It's almost like, and I've never watched it, so if this is wrong, then I guess I'm wrong. But feels very Dragon Ball Z-ish, as I've been told in the past that there's like an entire episode where somebody just powers up, whereas Yolandi is just falling for like multiple chapters
with that bowl cut mullet. Oh my God, I can't take it seriously. Nothing about this thing intimidates me with that coif on its head.
Yeah, it's such a terrible design. I don't know what they were doing. We had a nice long discussion about the mullet, the bowl cut mullet last time. This whole fucking story doesn't play by the rules, though. I mean, we're expecting this orc to go to war at some point, but no, now it's like
he's a property owner.
Yeah, there's a whole nother level here. And there's lots of humor infused here and there, like when they're chuckling at this guy's name is just Brian. He comes from this long line of like very like battle hardened warlords, but he's just Brian.
The life of.
Yeah. So I guess I'm still trying to figure out what is the tone of Kingmaker, because I initially read Yolandi, this bowl-cutted monstrosity, as being something that was supposed to be, taken very seriously. But now I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know.
There were two distinct possibilities of what this thing sounded like, and I think we both decided that it sounds like this. I got your bowl-cut mullet.
It's definitely what it sounds like.
It looks like a angry potato with a bowl cut mullet on the one shot where you see its face.
Yeah.
It looks like a baked potato.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking terrible. I don't know, man. It's definitely a decision. And
I like it. I like the story. It's just trying to find the tone of it. But I really enjoy Kingmaker.
I still don't know if I enjoy it or not. I don't know where I'm at with it. Some weeks I'm really into it and I'm intrigued. And some weeks I just don't know what the fuck's going on. So I'm still holding out for this to somehow turn into a crossover with Farrell and Foe. But the further we go in the story, the more I'm thinking no. But I actually heard someone say somebody had commented on one of our posts that they much prefer this to Farrell and Foe. And
really?
Yeah, and actually we're not fans of Farrell and Foe. So there are some people out there, and I forget exactly which one of our friends, somebody that we converse with a lot on the page, but they would say like Farrell and Foe to them was like a bad D&D story. And I was like, oh, to me, that's what I always enjoyed, is the fact that it feels like D&D when it's not played super serious, like, because I have played D&D before recently, maybe within the past, 6 months. And I played with a group of people who were right on that line of, not too fucking zany, but, when you've got people sitting around, older adult people who aren't super, super, role playing, but you're just kind of throwing a little bullshit in there here and there. It was kind of like that. And I kind of liked it,
That's the same reason I liked it. It was like a D&D game that wasn't being taken life or death seriously.
Yeah. And I've always had, sword and sorcery has never been for me. So I always like something a little different. And I mean, certainly Kingmaker offers that too. It offers that my beloved science fiction interjected in the middle of sword and sorcery. So yeah. So that leaves us with Brink, and it feels like we went through quite quickly, but both Dredd and Vex this week were just kind of getting some shit done that I feel like is going to lead to something with a lot more implications next week.
We're world building.
Yeah.
We're moving the story.
Yeah, and then Brink is certainly moving the story. I'm not sure I like this dude.
Which dude? The writer or our guy that's fixing a meetup for our new hire in the union?
Yeah, no. So the writer, I'm a fan, or the meetup guy, I'm still on the fence with, but this writer guy seems like a fucking jerk off. I don't know. How do you feel about this guy?
Well, he's wearing a monitoring bracelet because he's also got a history of being a dick. Apparently, he beat somebody up. I don't have a read on him yet. It seems like he's been shifted to this story as punishment, from his publisher. And why are they married or not? There's a girlfriend and a boyfriend. Are they married?
I'm going to say girlfriend and boyfriend, because nobody would ever marry somebody who said, these days, there's only one fix I need, baby. This guy's a fucking dork. Hey, Chelsea's in the chat. Happy birthday, Chelsea.
Happy birthday, Chelsea.
So
yes, Frank.
Yeah, this guy, he's a fucking dork. I don't think I like him, but maybe I'll like him more later.
I think we're going to find out that he's in over his head on this story. He's thinking it's going to be something easy to deal with and kind of dry, but I think it's going to end up like blowing his balls off, for lack of a better term. Do
you think he's going to end up converging with these other characters? Or, I mean, at some point it has to happen. So, is he going to go undercover? It seems to me like he's just kind of fucking, like you said, it's like almost like either a punishment, or maybe in the past he sort of was a problematic sort of employee, and they just kind of want to shut him up and just kind of keep him busy. But, this whole thing has been from the beginning. There's this whole element of him wanting to feel like he's working on, he's got this big story that he broke. And I forget exactly maybe they didn't even really mention it, but he has this whole big story that he broke. And now it's like, well, hey, you can't expect that every story you do is going to be a major revelation like that one was. So temper your expectations, but it's this definitely going to turn into that.
Yeah, I believe that he's been shifted to this as a disciplinary measure from his superiors, and he seems to think it's kind of dry because he's already reported on unions, I think, at some point. But I think it's going to blow up in his face. He's going to dig a little too deep, and he's going to get himself way in over his head.
Man, so it's been a long time since we read Brink.
Yes.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but the character that kind of sticks out to me that I'm like, I need to follow up on that guy is the guy who was kind of reminded me of the Dude and was always in his robe watching weird porn. What was that guy's name? I'm sure you don't remember because I
do not, because it's been 2 years since we read, but I completely remember his visual because we definitely made very, 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 very many Dude references to him.
Brink is cool because it just puts us in a real interesting science fiction environment, and it just lets us kind of live with people doing different jobs, on different paths, and experiencing sort of what this whole place is like, how it runs, how the criminal underbelly runs, and I don't know, man. Brink's a cool addition to the Prog. I feel like Brink is real sci-fi. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's like, I don't even know how to put that, but it's like that higher brow sci-fi. It's not just spaceships blowing shit up. It's a little bit closer to the what if factor.
It's not ball-cutted, be-mulleted space potato people fighting orcs on weird planets. It's procedural, and it almost feels like an OG Star Trek episode.
Yeah. Brink almost to me feels like it could possibly make a great Netflix original series.
And there's a lot to work with because you could have so many seasons on all these stories. I'd watch it.
I would watch anything 2000 AD at this point, though.
Yeah.
Would you watch The Order? I would watch The Order.
If it meant that we got something else out of 2000 AD, yes.
I feel like maybe in like original series format, a dummy like me would understand The Order. And
I would watch The Order because I would be willing to bet that they would put The Order out there and go, all right, if this does well, then maybe we're looking to doing something like The Out. And, I would always be supporting to get what I wanted.
Yes.
But I'd still be supporting.
I'll tell you one thing. They didn't fucking post our letter. They didn't post our letter.
Tharg, acknowledge us. You have to acknowledge us. We're the only ones out here doing a podcast in North America, flying the flag. We're doing Grudd's work. Why do you hate us?
Yeah. Didn't respond.
It's the dicks, isn't it?
I got no, hey, this is Tharg. Thank you for your letter. We'll publish that immediately. I didn't get that. So I don't know, man. Maybe they're just overflowing with so many fan letters. Maybe it takes a while. Maybe they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry. That daylight savings time's fucking killing me, dude.
That's supposed to be a good thing. You get to sleep later, right?
I stayed up too late last night, and I looked at the clock and said, it was 2, now it's 3. Son of a bitch. Okay. I'll just watch a couple videos. It's 4. God damn it.
Daylight savings time for me is exactly what I need, man, because I generally waking up at normal 8 o'clock is hard enough. And I always try to keep in mind that you're actually waking up at 9. So it feels great.
I'm still getting adjusted. I did want to make a mention before we get into the latter part of our podcast where we're shouting about men with bat fetishes. Yeah. Pro Wrestling Torch is reporting that Scott Hall is in the hospital on life support right now. And that fucking sucks. And the bad guy was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, Scott Hall. Nobody was cooler than Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in '96 when the NWO broke. Scott's had his fair share of problems in his life, but DDP got him cleaned up. He fell and broke his hip, which sucks. And he was in the hospital for hip replacement surgery. And last night, apparently, he suffered 3 fucking heart attacks due to a loose blood clot, and now is on life support.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So all positive goodwill thoughts to the bad guy.
Yeah, man. I'm a DDP yoga practitioner, and he shows up on quite a few of DDP's cooking videos with no cooking knowledge, but always the most entertaining part of those videos. One in particular where they're making chicken salad, and I'm pretty sure he makes a beat your meat reference and a choke your chicken reference.
At what point during the DDP yoga do you drop somebody with a diamond cutter?
Right straight up from the beginning, man. First move you learn is a diamond cutter. Yeah,
I would be in like nobody's business if it was just dropping people with diamond cutters.
It's you're dropping yourself with a diamond cutter, basically. So
well, I've diamond cut myself a couple of times.
But overall, man, the Prog is, I'm really excited because something's going to take the Order's place, which means I have the potential of liking all 5 stories in the Prog right now.
I wonder, well, I mean, we know Feral and Foe is coming back at some point. The Out is due back, but I doubt it'd be this close to the last step. And God, the Diabolics is out there somewhere. Yeah.
So
Red Road.
I mentioned it in our letter. Maybe that's why they don't want to. Okay. Somebody can go on the 2080 wiki. If you're new here and you're listening to this for the first time and you're looking for something cool that occurred in the middle of a 2000 AD season and never got any sort of credit for being super cool, Red Road needs a remake, needs brought back. Bring the original creative team, give it to somebody else, do something with it. I've been intrigued since I read it.
Yep, that was a Tharg's thriller. I believe that would have been fall 2019 when that came in, because that's when we started doing the weekly.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what comes in next week. There probably says in this Prog, and I just didn't look at it, but it's always nice to be surprised. And as long as Kingmaker's the one for me that's like iffy as to whether or not I like it or enjoy it or not. I don't know. Some weeks I think I do, some weeks I think I don't, but it's definitely a step above the Order for me as far as being interested and invested. So I'm going to stick with, maybe next week we're going to get, unless Survival Geeks comes back, we're going to get 5 out of 5.
Now you heard it here, folks. This coming Wednesday night on the podcast, we are going to be 5 out of 5. We're going to will it into existence like we did with Judge Giant and Judge Fire.
See what happens. So for those of you that are only here for 2000 AD talk, we'll go ahead and say wiener and close that out. But we did want to talk about, we both finally got to watch The Batman. And I think we've spent a lot of time talking about Batman on this show anyway, because I think for me, outside of 2000 AD, and like I said, I don't get to read anything other than 2000 AD now. But all the way up until they ended the New 52, I was a pretty adamant Batman reader, and kind of like, still have a lot of love for that character. So I was really excited. I'm always excited when there's a new Batman film. I was incredibly excited when I saw the premise for this one and saw all the true crime-ish sort of vibes it was putting out. How about you?
I really enjoyed it. Batman was my gateway drug into comic books. So I will always want Batman to be the best thing at the box office. I was stoked that we finally got a Batman movie where he was actually a detective, where they actually embraced that part of the character.
Yeah, they spend more time in this movie looking at documents and crime scenes than they do beating people up, or at least it's 50-50. And I was good with that because, the Batman stories that stick out the most to me outside of when Batman is a member of the JLA. I love Batman and the place that he gets in the Grant Morrison JLA. That's some of my favorite Batman stuff. But outside of that, for me, it's like, The Long Halloween, it's Court of Owls, death of the family, the stuff that Scott Snyder did. I like Detective Batman, and this is 100% that. We've never gotten that.
No, not cinematically at all. I was also thrilled that I think this is the first Batman movie that we didn't have to relive his origin. Like, we didn't get a vignette of his parents being shot. We got an allegory of, but we did not get, oh, look, his parents were murdered. Thank God we can get past that now. If you don't know Batman's backstory by now, I don't know what to tell you. Go read a comic book.
Yeah, there's a very, very, pretty much any superhero that you enjoy, pretty much their parents died. You can kind of assume that's sort of always the kickoff. Somebody close to them died. Spider-Man, Batman, so
mostly those two guys.
Mostly those two guys. All your favorites have that in their past. But I was actually going to say Superman, depending on which version you're reading, or which movie you're watching. Lost his dad in. I'm thinking The Man of Steel, where his dad's like, "No, it's cool. Just don't be Superman and let me die." Because we got to keep you a secret. I'd be so selfish. I'd be like, motherfucker, put on the fucking cape and come save me. We'll deal with the fallout of you being an alien later. But I guess I'm not. I wouldn't make a good father. But you get that little moment where Bruce. There's a kid whose dad is murdered in the very beginning of the film in a really, really brutal sort of Seven-ish sort of true crime way. He's like hacked to death with a carpet tool, and his son is sitting there newly orphaned, and Bruce kind of looks over at him, and they don't even have a moment. Bruce has a moment, and that's all you need. All you need to know is that hits home for the character. And there's nobody that doesn't know that. I'll bet you my 80-year-old mother knows that Batman's parents are dead. We've seen it a lot. And I think in the last Batman film, I want to say Superman versus Batman v Superman, I think is where it was, but there was I think it was kind of during the opening credits, you saw the pearls, it was fine. It was real quick. And they've been moving away from that for a while. We don't need to see that.
No. And I was so glad we only got the allegorical murder of his family. One of my favorite Batman stories is Batman Year One, because it's him learning how to do this. And that's what I liked about this movie. It was like Batman Year One and Long Halloween had a baby.
Yeah.
You could probably still cut about a half hour out of the movie and still get the same movie, but that's beside the point. That there's not really, I'm trying to think of a complaint I had about it, but it's not, I don't really have one. I think it was a really well put together movie. And the way I look at the DC stuff now is that it's just its own self-contained thing. It's not connected to anything else. It might be connected to the Walking Phoenix Joker, which could possibly be in the same world. Gotham City looked like an absolute hellhole, which I'm glad, because I went back and watched Dark Knight, and I like the Nolan trilogy, but Gotham always looked too nice in those movies. It was too bright and too shiny, and it looks like an absolute hellhole in this movie.
It definitely. I mean, I'm the same way, man. I love those Dark Knight movies, and that would marked a whole nother level of comic book movie. I think more so than Marvel. It just, I don't know. Those movies were, to me, at least tried to play around a little bit more with being a movie, like the kind of movie, if you watch The Dark Knight, especially, you're like, oh man, this feels like Heat. This feels like they're taking from all and they continued that trend. You watch The Dark Knight and you're like, oh man, there's major Heat vibes there, major Casino vibes there. And then they kind of carried that over into Joker, where you're like, oh man, this is Taxi Driver, or this is so that started that trend, and I'm real super grateful for that. But you mentioned Joaquin Phoenix Joker. There's actually, you do get a little Joker action at the end of this, which is it has this actor Barry Cogan, who I had no fucking idea who this dude was until I had never seen this guy in another film until my wife and I went to watch Eternals, completely out of context, because I've not seen hardly any Marvel superhero films, but my wife wanted to go see Eternals for whatever reason, and so this guy was in Eternals, and that was my first introduction to him. And he's kind of weird. He's kind of a weirdo, and I look at him and I really don't see the Joker out of makeup, but who knows? And I've read an interview with the director of this Batman film who said, like, yeah, it really wasn't foreshadowing that he's going to be in the next movie. It was just kind of letting you know that the Joker exists in this universe.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my buddy Ryan about this movie. And we've grown up together since we were in kindergarten. We've seen all of them together, and this, like, we were talking about Batman's Rogues Gallery, and he's got one of the most diverse Rogues Galleries, I think, in comic books. But we keep getting stuck on the Riddler and Joker and Penguin. Where's my Man-Bat? Seriously, where's Killer Croc? Where's fucking Calendar Man? Where's the Mad Monk?
We had Killer Croc and he sucked balls, but that's not his fault. His fault.
When did we have Killer Croc?
We got Killer Croc in Suicide Squad, not in Batman.
That's not that.
It's fucking terrible.
That does not count. I want like the slobbering, jowled, many-toothed nightmare that is Killer Croc, not the guy with a skin condition. That's the Croc I want.
Yo, I have a Batman VR for the PlayStation VR, and Killer Croc is scary as fuck in VR as he was in Arkham Asylum. I mean, that's a great Killer Croc.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring that up. That whole fight was Batman in no possible way can actually go fist to fist with Killer Croc. So he has to outsmart him, which is what Batman does the best,
Yeah.
Where's that shit? They could put Hush in there, but they fucked that all up.
Well, no, I was thinking, like, yeah, this is their opportunity to fix Hush. This is their opportunity to have Hush show up. And then the big twist is it's actually who we all wanted Hush to be.
Yeah. Because I watched the Hush animated movie, and they deviated from the source material. I was like, oh, they're going to fix it. Nope. Still fucked it up.
No.
Yeah, if it was, who it was supposed to be, that'd be awesome. But they're so stuck on that the same four villains. I don't think we've deviated from Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler. The only two real deviants were Bane and Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, and Bane, to me, like, I feel like, and I've seen some debate that it seems to me like they teased Venom at the end of this, and it could have been an adrenaline shot, but it was glowing-ish green. So
I still maintain it was an adrenaline shot. He stemmed himself because he just got taken a shotgun round.
It just makes sense to me that they, you could put that in there as a little Easter egg. Like, this director seems to not really feel like he has to follow up on the little things, little hints that he dropped here and there. Mm-hmm. So it's there if they need it. But man, who really would fit into this universe, especially this universe?
Who?
Fucking Professor Pig.
Yeah, I mean, this is dressed up just for him. He would be perfect. You're right. There's just so many other villains that would be interesting, that they never really explore cinematically because they always go with the hits. But there's some deep cuts in there that would be fucking great. I'd still love to see Man-Bat, just a fucking lunatic Man-Bat flying the skies of Gotham, and Batman having to deal with that bullshit.
It would definitely change the based in reality-ish tone of this, but I mean, I love Man-Bat as well. Man-Bat's cool. I also love Solomon Grundy, which again there you're going into cheesy Halloween territory with both of those characters, but I in the Arkham games, which maybe got Gotham the best of all, some of those games I think just really got it down. The Solomon Grundy and Man-Bat stuff was some of the coolest stuff in those games.
Man, tracking Man-Bat down in Arkham Knight was a pain in the ass. Him and Fire, you had to do the same thing with Firebug.
Arkham Knight in general was a pain in the ass. They went too hard on the Batmobile.
I love the Batmobile in that, how they play it off like, oh yeah, when people get near the Batmobile, they're tased by a mild electric shock. Alfred, I just sent that guy 3 blocks south. He is dead as shit.
It's just, it was like such a cool idea. And I feel like the design team was so excited. Like, fuck yeah, we got the Batmobile. Let's shoehorn it in everywhere, even to the point where you're like, at the end of the game, you're fighting Deathstroke, this badass assassin ninja. And he's like, I have a tank. Let me bring out my Deathstroke tank. And it's like, oh, come on, man.
God damn it. And if you don't do all the Riddler the races, you don't get the full ending, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I definitely didn't fuck with most of that stuff, but the other games in the series, it seems like it's always the second game in the series, just like with the Dark Knight trilogy. The second movie in the series was the best. It's always that second one that gets it just about right.
Overall, the presentation of the Batman, I really, really enjoyed. I liked the Zodiac killer nature of Riddler. How, he wasn't a physical villain. He was a psychological villain.
Yeah.
I love the look of the Batmobile. I loved how everything was just raw. Like you could tell that Bruce was just figuring this out and doing what he could on his own without, bringing people in from the outside.
Yeah. I wish when I was watching it, I know my wife was 100% ready to leave when it was done because it was a super long movie. But honestly, man, I was like, I want like 3 more hours in this universe. The story, it's that story beginning and ending. That was the perfect, it was a fine amount of time. It didn't need any more by any means. But I want more of that universe. Like I said, I want, this. In this one, we're sort of in this true crime sort of vibe that's happening. So like, I want to see, Batman have to hunt down Professor Pig as a serial killer. I want to see Batman have to live in this based in reality, probably the most based in reality of all of them so far. I don't know.
Nolan's trilogy was pretty
close, especially, when Bane comes in and he's very much like, he's got like a very much a terrorist sort of vibe. And I know people, and actually Paul in the chat says Bane's his favorite. People, and I'm curious to know what he thought of that Bane, because I never had a problem with what, I know like you and I have talked that you weren't a fan of Bane's mask, and we all prefer Lucha Libre Bane for sure. But like, I feel like the character of Bane in the films was cool. I had no problem with it.
The characterization, not at all. Like Tom Hardy nailed it. They nailed the intellectual side of Bane, which usually gets overlooked. It was the mask. Like we could have done a mask. That mask was overly convoluted. It stops his pain. Okay, but it's not attached to anything. Like what are you doing?
That was really interesting to me too, because I was just like, what does it do, and why is he in so much pain? Because he looks like he's in top physical condition out here.
Yeah, they could have. I don't know why Venom wouldn't. I mean, it's a steroid. Why wouldn't it fit in that universe?
Yeah. It was interesting the way they did it. And, not necessarily what I wanted Bane to look like, but as far as the way the character was, it was pretty cool. My favorite Batman villain really is the Scarecrow, but I feel like we got a pretty good Scarecrow, honestly, even though he was at most kind of a side character. I'm kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. He should be a side character. Like, he's my favorite, but he's also, I don't know. I felt like we got enough Scarecrow. It was cool how in the old, in the Dark Knight, we see a few seconds of like, oh yeah, Scarecrow's still out here on his bullshit. He's still doing it.
You're in his bullshit. Yeah, I liked how in Dark Knight they really wrapped up the loose ends, or tried to, from Batman Begins. I went back and watched that. I think it was Wednesday night or Thursday night. I remembered how much I wasn't a fan of the Nolan cowl, and the Affleck cowl suffered the same problem where the mouth hole was too tight. It makes it look like his mouth is just a butthole. It does, and it always took me out of it, And Bale could move his head from side to side, but he looked like a bobblehead because of it.
He did have a very bobblehead vibe. Yeah, I agree. That was always my least favorite part of that too. Yeah. And
I'm still a huge fan of the Affleck representation, because he's the brick shithouse Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns Batman. In that sequence, the rescue of Martha Kent sequence in Batman v Superman might be the most Batman moment ever caught on film. Just that whole sequence.
And man, I always got to say this too, like, for real, like, I know there's like a silly vibe to the fact that the whole like Martha, what'd you say that name? Like, I get it, right? But people that take that super take that so literally and go, the only reason he didn't kill him is because his mom's name was Martha. I'm like, no, you're trying to like, you're closing your brain off. You're being willfully stupid to make that jump, because it was dumb. Like, right. It was a dumb way to, but in that moment, fucking Batman, Bruce Wayne, has allowed himself to go so far that he's now seeing this living, breathing creature who has a mother and a father and a life as being an alien, a threat, something that must be destroyed. He's compromised all of his values. And it's not the fact that his mother's name was Martha as much as the fact that in that moment, he can no longer hold on to that. It breaks him down to know that this creature, because he hears Martha, he's wondering why did you say the name? And then he realizes, no, he has a mom, he has a family, he's a human being. I know that was executed stupidly, but people like to hate on that movie, like to reduce it down to like, oh, the only reason he doesn't kill him is because their moms have the same name. And you're really missing the point. And maybe that wasn't executed well, but if you're going to hate that movie, hate the fucking Ninja Turtle villain that comes at the end that they call Doomsday. That's the reason to hate that movie.
Yeah, and well, that moment's so memeable, it's easily mocked. And with that whole fight, it was truncated and they left a lot of the character build out, but seeing Superman humbled by a dude in a bat suit is great. Like, when he hits him with the kryptonite bullet and he goes, "You feel that? That's fear. You're not brave."
Yeah.
People are brave. And he's fucking right. Batman is the most brave of all the people in the Justice League, because he's the only motherfucker that can die at any given second, but he's still putting it on the line. And still, like at the end of Justice League, Snyder's Justice League, he's the guy that goes in and brings down the defenses so that everybody else can get in and try to shut down Steppenwolf before Darkseid can get in.
Yeah,
a middle-aged man in a bat suit. So
yeah, it's cool that, like, I don't know, I feel like Batman's been, I had no problem with, I love the Justice League. I love the
Snyder cut.
I love the Snyder cut of Justice League. I like all the Nolan films. Batman's had a pretty good run. We've had some good Batman stuff.
More good than bad. He's been, I think, treated the best cinematically. Yeah. As far as comic book movies go. Spider-Man has had some shit to deal with. X-Men got shit all over. Jesus Murphy. I remember sitting in the third X-Men movie in the theater just going, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, it was really bad. It was really, really rough. X-Men deserves a redemption. Fantastic Four deserves a redemption, even though I'm obsessed with the last Fantastic Four movie because I just need to know why and what happened. And until Josh Trank does a full feature-length commentary, and I don't think he will because I think he's got PTSD from making that movie. Until he does a full feature-length commentary, man, I'm never going to feel closure because I need to know what the fuck happened.
You're obsessed with the how and the why, not so much the end product.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was like so excited for this idea of a David Cronenberg body horror Fantastic Four. I was so excited, Johnny, that I went to Denny's and ate the Thing burger. That's how excited I was.
and you didn't invite me?
I didn't think anybody else was excited. I felt like I was
Nobody
literally
was.
the only person. Yeah. But I don't know, comic book movies are getting a much better shake than they always have. I know all of my friends who are Marvel fans seem to be real happy with the way that's going. Star Wars people are getting fucked in the ass all the time these days, but hey, it's your turn. Try being a Judge Dredd fan.
Sitting by yourself in the theater for Dredd going, oh, we're not getting the Dark Judges, are we? Nope, we're not.
No, we're not getting them. So yeah, man, overall, I really liked it. I'm not super hypercritical, like where I look at, I look at Batman v Superman and I'm like, oh man, it could have been great. It had some good parts. There was a lot that I didn't like so much, but it was all right. I look at something like this and I'm exactly where you are, where I'm like, yeah, man, I don't see anything to change. Like I'm sure there's nitpicks here and there, but it's like, no, this is a good path. I love this true crime Batman path. I want to see more of this. And apparently we're going to get lots more of this because they're talking about doing a Penguin series and they're talking about doing like a Gotham PD. I thought the guy that played Gordon was good in this. For
a minute there, I thought it was Jordan Peele. Yeah, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And did you notice where Catwoman said she was going to at the end of the movie?
No,
she's going to go up to Bloodhaven.
I don't know Bloodhaven. What's Bloodhaven?
Yeah, you do. That's where Nightwing rules.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Why don't I know that?
That's Teen Titans territory. It's got Nightwing. That's got Robin. I don't know if they have any plans of introducing those characters in this world, but it was a nice little subtle nod. I like the way that Pattinson played Batman, and I like the fact that this movie was more Batman than Bruce Wayne because no one's there to fucking see Bruce Wayne, but I like how he played him because he was kind of foppish and disassociative. Everybody's big critique was, oh man, I can't believe they're getting the guy from Twilight. Dude, it's been 15 years.
Yeah. We're so far beyond that, man.
Just stop it. If that's the axe you're going to grind, just stop it. Yeah, he was in Twilight. He's been in a lot of other things too. So why not say, oh, they got the guy from Harry Potter? Because he was in those too. But I like the way he played. He was kind of unsure as he was going through the movie as Batman as to how he was supposed to do this. And I never thought that I would be happy to hear a Nirvana song in a Batman movie, but it fit like a glove and it formed the whole orchestral score. I was like, wow, that really works. Son of a bitch. I'll be damned. I think that shot of him at the end on top of the Gotham Superdome taking the little girl over to the basket on the waiting chopper, maybe the most heroic he's ever looked in a movie.
That was so great, man. Yeah, it was great. It justified the fact that like Bruce Wayne was miserable, sort of tortured, unhappy, going through the motions. And it justified the fact that can be different, and like we can see a little bit. It's interesting because Ben Affleck Batman was like on the complete other side. It's like he went back to that in Batman v Superman. So there's this whole middle part where Batman is more of the like sort of positive, more hopeful version of himself. We've never gotten that version. Unless you count George Clooney, who acted like he was having a fucking ball the whole time.
Let's not reference that movie. Good Lord.
But yeah, man, it was really good. And I was wondering, I don't know if you've read much of it, but the whole thing at the end where they flood Gotham kind of leaves you in a really interesting place if you're going to start the next film there. But isn't that essentially Cataclysm? I mean, a Cataclysm was an earthquake, but it kind of leaves you in the same place where it's like the whole city's fucked. And
yeah,
now,
Gotham is well, that was No Man's Land, right?
it was Cataclysm, and then it was No Man's Land. I think.
Yeah,
I
No
think that's
Man's
the
Land
arc.
was the aftermath of right
Yeah.
where they were just kind of left to their own devices because
Yeah.
of what happened. So yeah, that's you're kind of right in that pocket. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I'm sure there'll be another film in this universe, but where do you go? I don't know if I'd play the Joker card. It's been played to death, literally and figuratively at this point.
Yeah, and as much as like I did think it was, I heard somebody say this. So like this is like I don't know if this is true, but someone had said somewhere that there was a deleted scene where Batman goes in and has a conversation with the Joker who's behind glass, like Hannibal Lecter, and there was a deleted scene of that apparently, if this is not bullshit that I heard, where that's you actually get to see the Joker and the Batman is talking to him about, I'm trying to figure out who this Riddler guy is, and it's like very, Hannibal Lecter vibe. That's the way to do the Joker. Just keep him in Arkham, let him make a cameo like that. Have Bruce going back and forth to chat with him. Let the relationship be different. That would be super cool.
You could build to where if he eventually got out, like the third movie, it'd be all hell breaking loose. If you've had this thing in there for 2-3 movies. I'd read that too, that there was a deleted scene with the Joker. I just don't know. Like this seems like it would fit the Court of Owls, the city.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that we've come in to where Batman has obviously been established for a little bit. He's a known quantity. So much so that like Gordon already has the signal, so we don't have to go through all that horse shit, and we can actually bring in other villains that would fit in this mold, like Court of Owls. I said Scarecrow would kind of fit this because it seems like psychological villains would be the best fit for this world instead of the strength villains. Yeah. So you got Joker, Scarecrow, Riddler's probably will make some kind of attempt at a comeback. I don't see us getting Bane or Killer Croc in this, but we might get Killer Croc. He's kind of weird and gothic enough to get that.
I guess the director at some point said that he was interested in Mr. Freeze, which seems like a fucking odd choice. And how do you not make that weird and too sci-fi? But
may as well throw Man-Bat in there. Fuck it.
Right. If you're bringing Mr. Freeze in, man, like that's a whole different thing. Clayface is somebody that I feel like always gets left out, and you can either go real super crazy with Clayface and have him be this giant fucking monster, or you can kind of just go a little bit more on the sort of reality based track with him. So there's that's another person we could throw in there too.
I mean, you could do Hush, but you would have to establish a lineage of Robins in this universe.
Yeah.
For Hush to work properly, if they were going to unfuck the fuckery that they fucked with Hush.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, the more I think that Court of Owls is the way.
It seems like it'd be the best fit, right?
It's so doable, and it's one of the best Batman stories ever, man. I love it. It like revitalized the character. I remember when that came out, and it was a hotness, man. People were talking about it. Everybody was just so excited, and I got it and I read it, and it lived up to my expectations. And it has this amazing mindfuck part in the comic where it makes you turn it different ways, and they make you turn it in such a way that you end up going back to where you started, and then you're confused. And it's just like, it's great. It's such a great arc. Like that whole Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, even Bat Bunny when Gordon took over in the mech suit. I liked it all. I
forgot about that.
Yeah.
I would like to see Azrael show up, and they could do the whole story with him trying to come in to Gotham to save it from the bats, and you get the whole Jean-Paul Valley and the programming and the system and all that shit. That would be really interesting if they could pull it off, but I don't think this is the world to pull it off in.
Yeah, this is seems like they're really, really trying to keep it more reality-ish.
Which is fine to a point. And they are still comic book movies.
Yeah. Yeah, so at least we've gotten some good Batman films.
Yeah.
We've gotten enough good Batman films to neutralize the like 2 bad ones that are out there, and some people would say 3, but I say 2.
I saw Batman and Robin in theaters, and I was embarrassed to be in the theater. It's bad.
I saw Bane in the commercial, and I remember telling my mom, like, we have to go see this, and just being so disappointed when Bane shrunk down to being a little skinny scrawny. Like, he was just a pile of shit character. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me at that age.
That whole movie. What the fuck? Like, they damn near killed the franchise with letting Joel Schumacher do that shit in Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah. He brought in some fucking goofy ass shit. I mean, Batman, all of this stuff, even as I'm watching the Batman, as I'm watching it, there is a little, part in the back of my mind that's like, this is fucking dorky. Like, even there's no sort of context where Batman is walking in the real world where it's not dorky, but you've got to be able, like, any of it, but you do have to be able to sort of like construct it in a way that you're able to just like suspend that and like, so there's even that risk of when it's too much in the real world, it's dorky. It stands out as being dorky. So you've got to craft a world where it sort of works. But Joel Schumacher was not it, man. And it really set Batman back pretty far. But hey, we're here now. So this is a good time to be a comic book fan, especially somebody who grew up in the 80s when we were not getting anything close to being acceptable.
We did get the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, and that's still one of my favorite comic book movies, for better or worse.
Yep. The only flaw about that movie is that he does not have the skull on his chest. But you know what? It was pretty damn good.
I mean, 89 Batman's always going to be the best Batman for me, if for no other reason than I will never be 10 again. And having that magic. And I never thought I would be so boned up for a Flash movie. My buddy Ryan and I, we keep sending each other photos, like the newest leaked photos of, it's Keaton and the cow. And I'm like, oh shit, just show it to me. They backed it up till November or to June of next year now. I can't. I fucking can't.
Is it the same dude? Same Flash?
Yeah, Ezra Miller.
Wow. So, that's cool and interesting, because I thought after Justice League, none of those guys were, I thought, okay, it's a wipe. We're not getting any of this stuff back, but apparently we are getting an Aquaman, and now another Aquaman, which my wife says is the worst movie she's ever seen in her entire life. I can never stay awake through it, ever.
I've never watched the Aquaman standalone movie. He's very much a background character for me. He's a secondary character in an ensemble movie, and I like him like I'm not going to sit through an Incredible Hulk movie, but I'll watch him in whatever ensemble he's in. Affleck is supposed to be in the Flash as well, in the bat suit, so we'll get to see all the timeline. What?
Al Tooley's in the fucking chat.
Oh shit!
And says Dolph had little skulls on his knives. This is like the closest we've ever came to hanging out with Al. This is cool. Maybe he's been here the whole time. But that's cool. It's like seeing somebody you've never met, but not actually seeing them, but you know him. And we basically talk every week. When he tells us,
he's always there the next day to set us right. On the Facebook page.
But yeah, Dolph did have little skulls, and I feel like some executive was like, we got to get that skull off his chest. Let's just put him on the knives.
You were supposed to be here 4 hours ago.
That movie, I mean, I've said it before on here, that was the movie that we watched at my wedding. We got married in a theater, and then we watched the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. And I have a wall-size Dolph Lundgren Punisher poster that I have it's so big it won't fit anywhere.
Or you better build a new house and
put
it up.
Yeah.
But it was that movie, and I don't think the Ray Stevenson Punisher, the Warzone movie, gets any credit, but that's a great movie. Yeah, so I went to see it with my buddy Ryan, and there's that one scene where the parkour gang is flipping over the buildings and one of them just spontaneously explodes, and they pan down and Frank's got the rocket launcher. My buddy started cackling like a cartoon witch. It was the funniest fucking thing. But no, I think of all the movies, that movie nailed the Punisher. Like when he hits the mob at the beginning and he's on a table and he lights off the road flare.
Oh my
and
god!
just rushes up to the Dawn and just fucking cuts his head off. And I was like, oh, finally, we've got a Punisher movie. The Thomas Jane one was what it was. John Travolta as a villain, not really. The whole dragging him off through a field of cars that are burning in the shape of the Punisher skull. No, please stop. I never saw I didn't sit down and watch the Punisher Netflix series. At that point, I was just so burnt out on the character because of knuckleheads and numbnuts running that skull.
I don't think I watched it. Someone in the chat mentioned Daredevil, and I did watch some of Daredevil, and I might have gotten a little bit of Punisher through that, but I didn't go very far in Daredevil either, just because I kind of just fell off. I'm bad about that with some different series, like try to give it a shot and then just can't make it through.
You've got to watch Peacemaker, dude. You have to watch Peacemaker.
Yeah, I'm still kind of behind on that one too. And I love those James Gunn movies. James Gunn's not made a bad film in a real long time, man.
No, he should just be handed the reins to all those B and C tier characters and just let him go.
Section 8, man. He needs to write a Section 8 movie.
Dog Welder. I was just gonna say Dog Welder.
Yeah.
There's an ancillary character in the Marvel run of RoboCop named Doc Chainsaw, and I want James Gunn to direct a feature-length Doc Chainsaw movie.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? James Gunn could 100% pull off he could pull off a Tick series as well.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. They still haven't got that one right.
No.
They've tried.
I like I'm a big fan of now I can't remember his name, so apparently I don't give a fuck about him really.
He's my favorite. What's his name?
Yeah, the original guy that played the live action Tick.
I know who you're talking about.
I love this guy so much.
He does
Warburton, Patrick Warburton.
Yeah. You got to get the costume right though. You have to commit.
Yeah.
He did with John Cena in the Peacemaker getup. You've got to commit.
Yeah.
It's either we're all in and it's ridiculous, or we stick it half in and it's awkward for everybody.
Yeah. Actually, so Al mentioned Punisher Dirty Laundry. That's a short film.
Yeah, that short that Thomas Jane did that. Thomas Jane did it on his own when the Punisher property was kind of in limbo and they didn't know which way they were going to go.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's literally the Punisher shows up. He doesn't have the skull or anything, but the war wagon pulls up to a laundromat and he's just doing his laundry and some shit goes down. But it's a cool little vignette.
Man, do you remember? This is going way far back, and probably this is the last place I thought I would end up going. But since we are talking about Batman, do you remember the legendary fucking film where it was Batman and the Joker? And I'll never remember what it's called.
Aliens and Predators. That thing.
And Aliens and Predators. What the fuck was that called?
It was a fan film. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was really well done because at the end of the costumes, or at least, were well done, and the Joker was really well played. And at the end, the alien comes down to confront Batman, and then the Predators drop down. That one.
Yeah, is it Dead End?
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
lazy to look.
Man, I'll tell you, that was so legendary when I was young, and I didn't have internet access maybe as early as some people did, but I had always heard rumors of this Batman fan film where the Joker looked really cool and Batman ended up fighting the Predator and some aliens, and the Batman he looked like perfect, and I heard all these rumors. Well, thanks to growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, and the bootleg movie guy at the flea market, who was selling a bootleg copy of that movie. I ended up getting it and getting to watch it when I was a teenager. And still to this day, I think I feel like that Joker was amazing. And maybe I'll go watch it again, and maybe it wasn't because it's been a really long time. But that Joker was pretty awesome, at least from what
He was wearing like a unhooked straitjacket, wasn't he?
I think so.
They
Yeah.
were like on a rooftop in the rain.
Yeah, he was real unhinged. And there's a great shot where Batman stands up and his cape's all fanned out. And I don't know, it was just like really well done. And I remember that was maybe my first, sort of the first time I ever realized that people shot fan films was when, I picked up this VHS, I think it was a VHS tape that had that on it. And it also had a few other things. It like had a weird, some sort of Jack Black pilot where he had a talking motorcycle. And I feel like that was like the first time I ever realized, hey, there's like a whole thing where people make fan films. And
I had planned to shoot a Halloween fan film, but we never got it off the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just going to be like a quick 15-minute, based on the Rob Zombie H2 Michael Myers. We had a location and everything, and I could just never get enough bodies to be in it. Because my buddy Jason we built a camera gimbal so we could get some tracking, like Steadicam tracking shots, and because the property we were going to use belonged to his aunt or his uncle. He had this rundown house. It was going to be perfect, and just could never get enough bodies to be in it.
Well, we should shoot because I've been wanting to shoot a Judge Dredd fan film for a long time. I want to shoot a fake trailer for a movie in the Judge Dredd universe called Kraken's Back, and it's like a maniac cop horror movie.
Oh, I love it.
That would be shown in the Dredd universe based on the events of Kraken, but of course it's like, and so we shoot it in that 80s style, and you have someone saying like, they gave him the old voice, like the Prowler, that voice, but it's like, they put him to death, and it shows him injecting himself, but he came back. Yeah, Kraken's back.
Dude, how awesome would that be if Kraken did come back in the Progs? Because we never see what happened to his fucking body. And there's enough lunatics out there that could clone a Kraken.
Well, I always thought, Kraken really, by all rights, he should be coming back every time the fucking dark judges return. Really, he's a dark judge,
Well, I mean, Penn too. If we're going by that, like,
but Penn's never actually been a dark judge. Like Kraken,
he was a vessel.
Penn deserves to be a dark judge.
What if somebody reanimated his ass? Remember the house on Bleecker Street last year? We got around Halloween that Nick Percival did.
Yeah.
That one judge has just been hanging out down in the basement since Necropolis.
Yeah.
What if somebody absconded with Kraken's body and they've had this rash of killings they could never crack. And he finally surfaces and he goes full maniac cop. How great would that be?
It'd be awesome. Leo, do you see this tagline? I'll just put in the chat: Kraken, backing and sacking.
I could finally put that mass Mongoloid motorcycle massacre cover I did to good use.
I know. Yeah. No, dude, I always wanted to do that. That was my idea for a Judge fan film, and I also wanted to do like a little. You do one of the fucking At the Waterfront. That's the perfect. Perfect fan film. Some little short thing.
Dude, that photo I posted of you and I for the other thing that we did this morning.
Yeah, I
was looking at that photo and I just got bummed out because I said, I'm never gonna get my judge uniform put together. It's too far removed. It's gonna be too hard to find now and cost too much.
I don't know. There's still a sort of active Dredd costuming page, not like it once was, but there's always people selling their entire kit.
I have seen that. I just got to find somebody whose financial situation results in them selling a suit that fits me.
Yeah. Right.
And I was looking at that photo, and the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm going, he's looking down past his nose in that helmet because he can't see shit. Because that welding mask is too dark.
Can't see shit. Yeah. So yeah, man, like, I don't know. Some of the best fan films we've ever got, or some of the best Dredd films we've gotten were fan films. That, I mean, Judge Minty still.
Pardon me. Yeah,
is-
Minty was amazing.
Yeah.
And then there's Body Shop. We won't talk about that one.
I don't know that I've ever watched. There was another one that was supposed to be happening that was like there was another Dredd fan film that was supposed to be happening that I just don't remember what it was called, but I don't think it ever fully made it. And then of course there was Cardboard Box Cinema entire Apocalypse War that I can't find anymore. And it was fucking amazing. Judge Dredd, the Apocalypse War shot with pop cans and cardboard boxes. Yeah.
Did they mention the Citadel?
I don't think so.
I want to know what the Citadel. You see how I brought it all back to Judge Dredd on the Judge Dredd podcast where we veered off for like a fucking hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe that is a good place for us to end today. So this is our this has really been our Batman themed Dreadcast. Cursed Edge. That's what it was, man. Dude, Al knows his fucking shit out here. I'm telling you.
He's on it.
He's not just looking this shit up. He just knows his shit. Like, I don't know, Al, why are you not just part of our podcast, man?
He can take it over once we get canceled. Once enough people hear what we're saying.
Yeah.
And now under new management.
Yeah. Now with 100% more facts.
And less wieners. Wait, what?
Wiener, yeah. Cursed Edge. That was the name of it. That fan film that never went through, man. Sure it's hard. To make a Dredd fan film when the fandom is so small, and in some places I think so critical. I know we can be perpetrators of that too. You know, we're here talking about Body Shop or whatever the fuck you said it was called.
It's not good.
Yeah, no, that's the struggle, man. Sometimes the passion is there, but the
budget, the passion is willing, but the budget is weak.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man, but I don't know. I got nothing else. So time?
It's oh my god, I hate when you say that to me. At least we're not in a dark alley this time. Yeah, I guess it's wiener time. So thank you all for hanging out with us on a Sunday afternoon. Once again, happy birthday, Chelsea. Yeah. And until this Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Or maybe Thursday. I forgot to tell you, but I may not be able to.
Okay, that's fine.
Sometime live this week.
I want you to remember that when you think about that one time you were like, "Oh, we got this. We're on a hot streak. We've done 3 Wednesdays in a row."
I know, but keep your eyes on social media, everybody.
Keep your eyes on Wiener.
And one more time for the road there, Johnny.
One more wiener for the road?
Yeah. Just one more wiener. Not the wiener that you just wienered, but like
a new wiener.
A totally different wiener that
all
you
right.
say like right now.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Wiener.